This is Axis and Allies on the 2 or Less channel, and I have got a stupid idea, possibly a stupidly good idea. We'll wait to find out. Before I get around to that, I should mention that I make these videos in aid of a charity called Cure Parkinson's. You can guess what they're trying to do. There is a link to them below this video and one in the banner on the channel page. If you happen to have a spare dollar, euro, yen, yak or an IPC you could send to them, I'm sure that they would appreciate it. And that camera just froze then, didn't it? But ignore all that. This idea came about, and I'll get you to where I was in my thinking. I picked up a set of 1941 the other day for £5. That's half a cheeseburger in American money. Couldn't refuse to buy it. It would seem rude not to have bought it in the first place. And I wanted to get the special models that are in there that aren't in the other editions, like the Heinkel's and the FW 190s, which are just superb little sculpts. But I've been meaning to, for a long time, get around to painting alternate colour scheme. In my painting video that I did way back, I said that you should have identifiable colour. As if, for instance, with the Germans here, the tanks are in grey, and so are the men, to give you that continuity of colour. So when you look at the board, you can see which country you're looking at straight away every time. But me being a jealous soul, I've seen some people doing that oak leaf camouflage on some of their German pieces, and it looks superb. I went for something slightly different. I went for Platanenmuster, which is the German for plain trees camouflage. It's Plain, plain, as in the open plains, and it's what the landwehr would have been using in the autumn and the spring, and it was more like a should we say a cape or a canopy that they put over themselves, a cloak that would have that sort of autumnal colours flowing through the cape that they were wearing, to give themselves that blend in with the bocage. So I wanted to make that idea onto some pieces, and I shall show you the results of that in 1 second. The thing that didn't occur to me when I was painting it, don't ask me why, in the 1941, as you may know, in that 41 game, they are slightly lacking in pieces, and you don't get artillery in there. So I didn't think to paint any artillery. So let me turn you around to the other camera and show you some of the results. Okay, ignore the fact that we are actually in Africa. These are my standard German coloured pieces there. And going for this Platanenmuster colour scheme, the tanks have come out beautifully, as has the blokes. And the planes, the Heinkel's and the FW 190s are just gorgeous. But placing that against one of these greyish coloured artillery pieces, I wasn't exactly enamoured with the way it blended in. And I thought, well, I could paint some of these, because I got 13 or 14 different versions of Axis and Allies. I got plenty of stuff lying around to actually do something with. But I did wonder, yes, Germany did paint their planes different colours. Yes, tanks had different colour schemes. But would they have gone and painted their artillery pieces for the amount of time that it would spend and the size of it? So I decided, well, possibly what they would use is cargo nets or camouflage nets. So I had a go at making some. Let me just show you the results of my early attempt. There you go. Look at that. Now, I know to scale, the holes in the camouflage are much bigger than what they should be in real life. But if you make them too small, you're not going to see what equipment colour is below it. So what we are doing is we're making something that looks like camouflage rather than it actually being camouflage. A smaller, a tighter denier of covering, smaller holes, you are just going to completely obscure what you're going to find. So that's what we got to. Now, because this started off a little bit of an arms race, the Russians wanted something too, and I've been meaning for ages to do some winter troops for them. Now, I haven't actually finished them yet. These are just on the painting table as we speak right now, and they're getting underway with a nice bit of whiteness. And again, it was that idea, well, what would happen to their artillery. Obviously their tanks are going to go into a white colour, and seeing some of those planes, the red star sticks out so beautifully on the white planes that we're going to be using. But again, the artillery, would they have repainted that with a load of whitewash? Wasn't quite sure, but just using that same principle with this camouflage netting, same piece entirely, beautifully camouflaged away. And I don't know about you, but I think that looks pretty damn cool. You can see what's happening there, and they haven't taken up too much more of a space, and they're pretty damn easy to make. So I'll flip you back round to my handsome face and show you how these camouflage nettings are going to be made. Okay, I'm going to leave my glasses on for this, because the old mince pies don't rock and roll that well these days. Now, what we got here, I did try several different types of ways of doing this beforehand, including laying out strings of cotton of different colours to try to get that platinum muster feel going. It didn't work out nicely at all. But having faffed around, etc., and used different deniers of nylon mesh, my missus, the funny lady, said, "Is this any good for you?" It's an old laundry bag that she puts bars in there so the hooks don't get thrown in the washing machine, apparently. And the zip broke on it. She's kept the bag around because you know what ladies are like for old keeping things. You know, their sewing bag is like our junk shed or our box of accessories pieces. We collect so much rubbish, but this stuff is quite a good size. It's, I would say, a fraction bigger than I really would have wanted, but for free it absolutely works. And the way you convert some of this into one of those camouflage nettings is the most simplest thing going. This, I believe, is a nylon type of material. So what nylon does is it doesn't actually break down in the same way as, say, a cloth material would do. You cut it with a pair of scissors, you get yourself one cheapo lighter. This stuff will it will catch fire, but it's not going to burn the house down because it's such a small piece. We hope. Don't burn the house down. So what you do is, if you take a piece of this bigger than you actually want it to be on the finished item, you get your flame and you quickly just gently brush this edge with your flame. Let me pay attention to what I'm doing enough. But as you might notice here, I'm going to keep this on this same side all the time. I'm holding a slight curve to this piece with a bit of heat going on to here, and you're just roughly just catching the edges. It's crinkling, catching, curling. It's actually strengthening the edge by a little bit. You may not, you won't be able to see it possibly, but it's already taken a curve. It's already made it itself curved. We keep that same axis going. Come under this way. It's taking a curve again. We're going to do 4 sides of it just to show you where we get to. And it's curling itself up away from the heat. That would do for that particular one. Now, I can faff around with this for a long time, and you will probably have to faff around for a little while. Other camera, and I'll show you how this one looks on there. So without too much of a faff, that's the one we've just done. It doesn't quite sit flat just at this moment, but it will do. I can show you something how you do that in a minute. But you put that over there, and suddenly there we have our beautifully disguised winter camouflage for our Russian pieces. The German one was just literally, because it's a nylon material, it's not going to suck the paint in like you would do with a paper or cotton material, but acrylic paint has sat on there and been moved around and squeezed around in that random fashion to try to give you that autumnal colours, and it's not falling off, it's not breaking up, it's not making a mess everywhere. That it does kind of work. The only finishing off things that I've done with this one compared to this one is you might see it sits slightly fatter and flatter at the back there, and it's slightly tighter on these holes up here. That is because on this particular one, I'll show you on the other one, I took this piece, and I'm not going to do this on camera because it's going to go completely wrong, but squeeze it together in this fashion on this side. This is where the back end was, the barrel came out here, and you use, oh, I'll give it a go, why not, a little bit of gentle flame but a very quick, gentle flame, just to bring it down in a crease, and it's just tightening up those holes in that mesh. In doing that, you are creating a tightness. Actually, that's not worked out too badly, and the thing will flatten down with a little bit of warmth and a little bit of pressing and a whole lot of faffing around. But you will make these little winter camo nets for these things. Obviously that one isn't sitting down as nicely as this one is, because it was a bit of a, you're doing it on camera. It's hard to replicate these things at any kind of enjoyable pace. But there we go, winter camouflage, autumnal camouflage, so as you can get your winter troops and not have to repaint all of your artillery pieces just to match. The Platinum Master, I think, has come out beautifully. The winter troops are on their way, and when they are all done, they are just going to look gorgeous mucking around. They've got some, obviously I'm doing some tanks as well. They've just been primed. There's nothing else done to them yet, but when they get finished, man alive, I'm looking forward to having the autumn troops versus the winter troops mashing up on the Operation Barbarossa. So until next time, thank you very much for watching. Be cool.